Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to share my experience trying to restore old photos. Let's take a look. All right, here's an example. This is the original image. As you can see, it's black and white. We have noise around the photos and trying to restore it. This is what I got. So it's pretty much perfect. If we look at the difference map here, you can see that there is minimal changes to the original image. So this here is trying to find the difference between the output image and the original image. And as you can see, we have a few changes. We got changes here, a little bit on the eyes and in the clothes here. So look at it, we can see that we have a little bit of changes in the hair. There are clothes there. Now we have the flowers, which are a little bit more defined. In this version of the photo, we could not quite make out if it was flowers. And then the eyes. Take a look at their eyes here. They are really well done. It's like natural, really nice. Even the skin, everything else is really nicely done. So this is one of the example. Here's another one. So this is the original version. Again, we have a lot of noise in the image. It's black and white once again. And this is the output I got. Note, I have not modified this output. This is the exact output I got after the image generation. I did not go into Photoshop to do any kind of retouching. I wanted this to be 100% what you will get. This way you have an idea of whether or not this model is for you. Once again, take a look at the people's face, the eyes. They are really well done. So this is the example number 2. Now here's example number 3. And at this point, I would like to mention that this model is not perfect. So let's take a look. This is the original image. As you can see, we have a soldier, we have a chair, and then we have the background. So the output here is like this. Really well done. We have the chair, we have the person here, the soldier, and the colors I think are really nice too. However, you can see that it blurred the background. We lost that background completely. Now sure, this is an easy fix. Since this output, we have the character in focus and everything else is basically blurred out. We can easily select the subject. If you are in Photoshop, if you're in Krita, there is object selection. You can do this inside of ComfyUI by just removing the background. So any background removal tool will be able to remove the background and then you can replace it with the original one. Just overlay the subject on top and you will get the original background back. However, just one click, the model was not able to get the character plus the background. So this is something that you may want to know in case you're thinking this is going to be a one-click solution for you. So here's another example. This is a slightly difficult image to work with. This is the original image. As you can see, this one has a lot of damage. We have these lines here that you can see. I am guessing this is from the photo crumpled before. And we got some photo tears. We have creases in the photo. We can also see that the dog is not clearly defined here. So the puppy is on bed. The background, at least to my eyes, I can tell that maybe we have some kind of curtain or maybe like a wallpaper in there. The curtain is on this side. Now let's take a look at the photo restored version. So this is what we got. Now, as you can see, it kept the wallpaper at the back. We have the curtain, we have the mirror as well. We have a few parts that was not restored completely. So one being these creases here that were kept, as you can see here. Even on the dog here, I'm not sure if you are able to see it, but there's a line here on the dog here. And the quality as well could have been better. It kept the dog similar to how it looked in the original image. So maybe some of you would prefer to have a higher quality for the dog, the puppy. In my opinion, that would be the subject. So I would want the puppy to be a little bit higher quality. But considering that we did not have enough detail in the original photo, I think that's a job well done. At least we now have a starting point. I can take this image inside of Photoshop. I can just use the soft brush, the soft removal brush, and then just paint around these lines just to get rid of it. You can do the same thing in Krita or GIMP, I believe. Okay, let's take the difficulty up even more. So this is the original image. This one, as you can see, it's in a bad condition. Same thing as previously, it's black and white. We don't have the person face in focus. We have noise in the original image. There's these creases, lines all over it. And to my eyes, I can tell that this is snow, but it's not well defined. So here's the interpretation of the AI model when trying to restore this image. This is what it gave me. And as you can see, the person face is really well defined now, and the character as well. We have really nice background. Surprisingly, it kept the background this time, even though we did not have much detail in the background. At the top here, we can see if we go into the output here, it added some fencing. We have some stuff happening in the background here. We can see a little bit of vegetation in the back, but once again, the model is not perfect. So while it gave us a good starting point, I'm not going to consider this model a one-click solution. So here's why. If we take a look at the original image, we can see that we have a truck, and at the top here, the truck is probably cut out, right? But in the final version, it repaired that trunk as well. So it made it went all the way up. This may not be an issue, but if it was intentional in the original image, then you're losing that. Second thing is, in here, we don't have detail in the original image. So I'm going to leave these full-size images in the description below, so you can download, zoom in, and analyze them yourself. And you would probably notice that in here we are missing some information. We can see that the person, they have like some kind of jacket, and we have some kind of strap in an X form. Maybe it's laces, I'm not sure, but here it's missing. And if we take a look at the output here, it did not fix that part. Right? So we can see the line here, but it's not fixed here. So it's not going anywhere. Same thing on the other side. Here's another thing. We have like a crease here, maybe from whether the photo was crumpled. So there's a line here, and that once again did not get fixed. There's another one here on the other side. Once again, that did not get fixed. And I believe the AI got confusing these gloves as hands. So it tried to give a combination between glove and hand. So we can see that the hand is big, which signal us that, okay, it's not a hand, it's probably a glove, but then it looks like a hand, okay? So it's not a 100% perfect. We'll have to go in, probably in paint those areas to fix those issues. So here on the chest area here, probably on the arms, maybe the hand as well, we need retouching, but it was able to give that starting point. I would also like to point out the bottom section here. So at this point here, the picture, the photo here is pretty much black. So we don't have a clear separation between the jacket and then the trousers. So it was not able to make that distinction. So if your original photo has a lot of these difficult area to work with, then the AI will not be able to interpret what they were meant to be, then try to restore it like that. However, I'm not sure how many of you do photo restoration. If you do as a job, like professionally, let us know in the comments down below if it's possible to do this simpler in a photo editing application like Photoshop, or if you would prefer to work with this version as your starting point. Now, as a challenge, I also gave it this image. I would consider this impossible to photo restore, and I just wanted to see how the AI would interpret this version. So here is the result. It was able to restore all the damages. So these were damages. So there were no pixel here. There's no information in here. And the AI was able to restore it. However, it changed a lot of things. So if we go into the difference map here, you can see that everything that is white got changed. So there's a lot of things that got changed. If you compare this with the version I showed to you previously, there were minimal changes. In this one, there's a lot of changes. That is kind of obvious because it needs to repair all of these. There's no information there, so it had to regenerate what it would consider to be there. I would say there is a wall layer that the person is leaning on, but the wall is here, right? It looks like it's not even a wall. It's probably like an entrance, maybe a door that's open. That's what it looks to me. Now, it was able to determine that this is the person is wearing, like the clothes, and the color, I think it's pretty nice. I'm not sure about the hands, or if they were supposed to be wearing a wash there. There's a chair that it added. Now, I can sort of see something in the back. I'm not sure if it's a chair. So whether it's a good job or not, that would depend on whether you know how the original image looked like. Okay, so back to the soldier from before. This time we have the top part of the photo. This way we have the face. And let's take a look at some of the changes that I've noted that I think you should be aware of when it comes to using this model, especially when it comes to photo restoration. So here's the before, and here is the after. At first glance, it looks really nice. We have the background this time. I'm not sure why this specific version decided to keep the background, and on this side we don't have color. So this side we have color, this side no color. So I cannot tell you why here. However, a few things are noted. The hands are really well done. The character is in focus, really nicely done. And the face at first glance looks really nice. What I've noted is that this does not seem to be the exact person. So I think what's happening here is that when the character is far behind and we have more information to work with, the AI is not able to do like a one-to-one restoration of the face. So if I go back here and let's do this one here that we've seen earlier. So for this one, you can see that it's actually the same person. So the face really matches, and here the face is in focus in the original image, and we have really nice details, so it was able to restore it clearly. Same thing with this one here. So the faces came out really well in this one, so original version, and this is the generated version. So as you can see, really nice detail here. But for the soldier here, we can see like it's close, but I don't think it's the same person. Everything else is pretty good though. Now, another thing that you may have noticed is that this AI, I don't know why, but for some reason, it will always generate a zoomed in version of your original image. So this is the original image. As you can see at the top here, I have some space, bottom, left and right, but this version, this is the output from the AI. It cut out the top, the bottom, left and right, and you just focus on the middle section. I've noticed this on all the images that I generated. I'm not sure if it's something that I'm doing wrong. I will share the workflow. You can tell me if I did something wrong, but this is what I've observed. Here's my conclusion after testing this model and trying to restore these images I've showed you. The model is not a perfect one-to-one replacement for dedicated photo editing application. It can be used as a good starting point. We'll give you that starting image that you can take into your photo editing application and then just do simple correction there. If your original image is in a good condition and you just need to get a colored version of it, like you've seen, it's really good at that. So let's go through the details now. The model I've used for all the photo restoration is the Qwen Image Edit, and I've used it inside of ComfyUI. Now, there's the blog post here. I'm going to leave a link to this blog post in the description below so you can read it at your own pace. Now, few highlights. This model is open source. And funny enough, I thought I made a video on this before. I have the script, I have the generated output in my ComfyUI folder, but I don't have the recording. So I'm not sure if I'm reaching that age where I'm starting to forget things, but I really thought I recorded myself doing a video on this. Now, today's focus is only on photo restoration. However, this blog post here, nowhere did they mention that this model is for photo restoration. So this is completely experimental on my side. If it works for you, good. If it does not work, then we'll probably have to try a different method. There are a lot of other models that can try doing photo restoration. There's the Context, there's the Google Nano Banana that you can try. You can probably try ChatGPT as well to get that starting image. And quickly, for the Qwen Image Edit, they mentioned that it's for precise text editing. We have dual semantic and appearance editing, and then they have strong cross benchmark performance. Now, when it comes to benchmark performance, I believe that you should probably just try it with your own images to see if it actually works. So here are a couple of examples. They mentioned the text edit here. We have the style changes, as you can see here. We have object removal like this. And then we have a change in pose and atmosphere of the image. And then we have the change of the character. We also have a change of perspective. But as you can see, this is the end of the post, and they did not mention anything about photo restoration. But trying it out, I found out that for some images, it works really well as a one-click solution. For others, will need a little bit of photo retouching afterwards. To set this up on your machine, you will need to prepare a few things. So gather your photos for testing. You can use any of your photos that you have. If you'd like to use the one I've showed you in this video, I will have a link in the description below where you can download all of them for free. I got all of the test images on pexels.com. Once you have your photos, you will need to update ComfyUI. The portable version, you can just run the update_ComfyUI.bat inside the updates folder. If you have the desktop application, then by default it should auto update on startup. If not, then you can go into your settings and ensure that automatic updates is enabled. If you have a manual installation of ComfyUI, then you will need to do git pull in your terminal to get the latest changes from ComfyUI. All right, once your ComfyUI updates and restart, then you can go to the top here, click on it, go inside browse templates, and from this section here, select image. Scroll down and you will see this one here that says Qwen Image Edit. Click on it, it will load the workflow. Some of you will get this pop-up notification saying missing models. In my case, I have only one missing model. It's the VAE, but be aware that for this entire workflow, you will require 4 different models. So it's possible that you will have to download all 4 of them. Simply click on the download button, wait for it to complete, do the same for the remaining models. Now, by default, ComfyUI should download and auto-place the models in the correct folder. If not, then we have a nice section here that will tell you where to place the model. It says that we'll need to go inside the ComfyUI models, and then the Qwen Image Edit FB8 should be inside the diffusion model. The LoRa model should be inside LoRa's, VA inside VAE, and then the text encoder inside the text encoders folder. Okay, so I've downloaded everything. Let me show you where they are. So once again, go inside your ComfyUI folder, ComfyUI, and then look for models, go inside it. And then we have the diffusion folder. Inside here, you will need to place this model, the Qwen Image Edit FB8. Inside the LoRa's folder, you'll need to place the Qwen Image Lightning 4 steps. Inside text encoders folder, you will need the Qwen 2.5 VL FB FB8, and then inside VAE folder, you will need the Qwen Image VAE .save tensors. Now the default workflow works. Everything should be selected. You may have to press R to refresh the node definition and then make sure that the name is correct for you. So if you rename the models, then you will need to select them from the drop down. Now by default, you will see that the LoRa is disabled and we need 20 inference step for this initial workflow to work. Now I'm going to show you the changes I made so that I can do photo restoration. Okay, I will have this version of the workflow in the description below. You can download it for completely free. If you want to make yours, it's very easy. All I've done is I've added this resize image node here that allows me to resize my images. I believe the original one, it has this one for resizing. So it says here that if your image is excessively large, then you would get poor output result. However, this one works in megapixels, so you cannot quite control the width and height. But in this version here, you can define the width and height. Now, if you're using your own resize image node, there are a few things that you will need to know. So one here is your initial image should go into the resize image node. That is the only place that the initial image go to. Now this resize image, we have an image output, and this goes to multiple places. And the first one is here, the text encode Qwen Image Edit. You'll need to click here and drag it to the image input field here. The second place is this one for the negative prompt. Even though we don't have a negative prompt, you'll need to connect the image there as well. You also need to connect the image to the VAE encode. And if you want to have a before and after, I've added a save image node here that you can connect it. You can also change it to preview node if you want to. That's all up to you. Now, in terms of changes, that's it. I've also enabled the LoRa so that I can do 4 steps instead of 20 steps. So as you can see, the number of steps here is 4, and that is because the LoRa is enabled here. Then this here is the prompt I've used for all the examples I've shown you. So restore this photo to a modern look, add natural color, repair damage, and remove paper tears while preserving details. You can probably experiment by maybe saying, keep the photo as black and white. That is something that you can do. I wanted to have color in it, so that's why I've said add natural color. And then all you have to do is to get your image, place it here, and then click on the run button there. You can also go here, click on the save image, and then click on this run button here. Both of them will work. Now, if you do not want to use the LoRa, so you can bypass it by simply clicking on this arrow icon here that says bypass. And then you'll need to come here into the key sampler and change the number of inference steps from 4 to 20. Like this. Now, if you go down here, you will see the number of steps and CFG that you'll need. So for the offshore model, you'll need 50 steps. The FP8, this is the one that we've downloaded. We need 20. And then if you're using the LoRa, you can also change the CFG. For me, 1.5 to 2.5 worked. Okay, so you can experiment with it. It says here that for the FP8 2.5, if you're using the LoRa 1, I found that if you use 1, it does not quite work well. So here's an example here. So this is the original image, and with the LoRa and the CFG 1, this is what I got. So it kept those damaged areas. So the CFG is something that you'll need to experiment, but the good starting point is the 2.5, 20, and then disabling the LoRa. If you want faster generation, then you can enable the LoRa, do 4 steps, try at CFG 1, and then see if that works for you. You can also increase it. Now that's it when it comes to changes that I've done for photo restoration. Now, of course, you can integrate this part in any other workflow. For example, let's say you want to fix the background. You can add node here to remove the background and then to have like a new background and then overlay those images together. So you can go and integrate this in any workflow. So in terms of performance here, you can see I've noted it down here. For the one without LoRa, 20 steps, it's about 3 minutes per image. And then with the LoRa at 4 steps, it's about a minute for me. I have 12 gigabytes, so you can probably guess how long it's going to take for you if you have more or less. And like I mentioned here, the quality is almost the same as long as you get that CFG right. But when it comes to facial accuracy, it will depend on whether or not you know how the person looked like originally. Now, in conclusion, for me, I think the Qwen Image Edit is a valuable model when it comes to getting a starting point for photo restoration. So it can be used to recolor black and white photos. It can be used to remove noise from the original image. And it's like a near one-click solution, which will probably require minimal post-processing. When it comes to heavily damaged photos, then it would probably struggle like any other model since we don't even have information there. I would like to say a big thank you to all of my Patreon supporting the channel, and a thank you to all of you for watching until the very end. Have a nice day, take care, see you next time.